You see the flooring is done. We've added a little riser to put our couch on, just so that people don't have to stare at the back of my head when they're looking out the control room window. The headroom's a little limited. I actually have a very difficult time standing up in the back without hitting my head. It was a compromise that we just had to deal with. It's one of those things. You'll notice that we have all the insulation in place finally, and all of the recessed lighting that's going on there. You look over here, we've made a lot of progress on this side of the world. Of course, the rack is now built in, and you can see we're starting to pull cable to it. We got a lot of multi-pair being run underneath and through the floor up to what is now a new rack, because this here is clearly not enough space for all the stuff that I've got. After laying it all out on paper, I realized I needed at least one more rack the same size, and then some, for all of the exterior, I should say outboard hardware that I've got. So that's what's actually happening here. We have built something similar to what I've seen in studios in LA. It's an elevated rack that sits kind of higher up in the room, so that I have clear line of sight to what is going on as far as the controls and the levels, and it's relatively easy to get to. So this is the frame for what will eventually become the rack. We're building it out of oak. It'll be a 3-bay 16 RU rack system that's 16 inches deep as far as the framing is concerned. You can see there's actually space behind it for some deeper units to snug up into, and it will rest in that little cradle that we've built for it. Directly below it is just a small desk for me to put lava lamps, books, and other random things. And the space below that also has some electrical that's been pulled into it to allow for my Pro Tools HD rig, as well as just any other extra racks or road type gear that needs a place to live. We've gotten all of the audio cabling done, so you can see there's a 24 Mogami snake that's been pulled in. We've got some speaker lines, and I've added in here some extra 4-pair and single-pair mic cable just to be distributed throughout the room. I made some other improvements as well. Let me go over here and try to keep this stable. We've added a floor in here so that the studio, I should say the vocal booth floor, is sort of isolated from the concrete. And we added a 12-pair cable. I think it's an 8-pair Mogami as well. And you'll see we threaded everything, additional cabling here inside the studs. Added a little box here, which, well, I haven't added it in yet, but that cable that I'm pointing at right here is my cable for an additional mic panel. We finished the DMX wiring. You can't really see it, but these electrical cables that you see up here, those are all going to be for the DMX, basically LED par cans that we got. So that's happening here as well. As I pointed out before, we built a little wiring cable closet right here. So we have all of the audio cabling, the DMX cabling that controls the lighting, as well as just the regular cables that we're going to use for our electrical system. They're all going to terminate in this box here, and we'll build shelves to carry some of the isolation transformers and stuff like that. And of course, you can see in the bottom right here, we pulled in some mic cable as well, which terminates at a panel that's going to go right here. I also installed, and that's what you can see right there in that blue J box. This is going to be the connections for my hearback system. We're actually taking the hearback system and connecting it to a patch base, so I can have up to 12 locations here in the studio, and all of those locations actually run through this closet. So I have the ability to service the system if I need to. Let's go into the control room. You can see this massive snake on the floor. This is actually going to be the control where the board sits when it's all done. And the black cables that you see are mic cables, and of course these gray cables are part of the hearback system. So I've got a lot of termination to do here, and I'll obviously need some help to do it. Looking out, this is the view from the control room. And as you can see, we've added some J boxes up there. One is for a center channel speaker. The other is for power for the center channel speaker. Eventually here, I'm going to be putting in some cabling for a soffit mounted speaker system. And of course, we'll be putting the cabling there and over there. Sort of walk the room, you can see at this point, most of the bat insulation is in place. There's a few cavities that we need to finish. I would say past the insulation, past getting the booth finished, past the drywall, and then certainly past the electrical. And you know, we'll have a room that we'll start thinking about finishing it, like getting the electrical completely finished, getting the flooring in, getting the windows, so that the room will actually be ready for us to start to put on the wall treatments, which is coming next.